This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne.
Also being heard on translator K266CC Cheyenne at 101.1 FM.
It's time now for something new for you. It's KRAE Reports, a week in review. And now let's check in with our program right here on 1480 KRAE Cheyenne. And good morning. Welcome to our program. Larry Peroletti along with Nick Peroletti. KRAE Reports, a week in review. Obviously a lot to talk about within the state legislature. And our special guest coming up in the 12 o'clock hour will be U.S. Representative in the Wyoming, in the House of Representatives, Harriet Hageman, who will be joining us. So looking forward to that conversation. Again, freshman Congresswoman from Wyoming. So, again, she was part of the State of the Union address, being in the People's House. So, again, short period of time that we'll be with her, so we'll try to delve into as many things as we can when we get that opportunity to speak with her. She's in Wyoming.
Town hall, doing little town halls right now, especially, I do believe, yesterday in Laramie. Coming up tomorrow, I do believe, we'll be in Pine Bluff. So, again, kind of hitting around the state of Wyoming as she said she would do if elected again. And she mentioned that here on this program, again, a couple months ago. Again, I think that was around, again, May, June time as they were preparing for the primary. But I mentioned that, again, she would get back out to the state of Wyoming periodically to, again, talk with folks. So, again, she is making due on that promise. And, again, out here this week to, again, get a couple town halls in across the state of Wyoming. Predominantly, seems like around here, kind of southeast Wyoming. But you mentioned the State of the Union. We can talk about that very quickly. Again, not a whole hell of a lot out of it. It was just more kind of bickering or, again, argument of, again, with Democrats, Republicans. It was more so kind of that back and forth match. President Biden, again, talking about the economy, talking about the China balloon situation, shooting that down.
And how much did he talk about it?
Very little on that one. Again, who knows what is going on with that situation, especially as the U.S. is finding more and more of these UFO type vehicles, again, shooting them down, especially around here in North America. So, again, who knows what's going on with that situation. But kind of the key points of the State of the Union that kind of affects, again, here in the state of Wyoming, at least veteran help, I mentioned that as well. Again, trying to prevent veteran suicide. So, again, kind of looking to allocate resources into that to, again, more. And it was kind of more tied into the mental health crisis that is hitting the U.S., which, again, does hit home here in the state of Wyoming. Again, trying to address that. Police brutality as we see more and more of those events. Looking for kind of quote unquote the police reform. We also talked a little bit about big pharma, whether it was the COVID-19 pill, looking at, again, cancer research, trying to at least prevent at least cancerous products, for instance. Again, smoking tackled on that, trying to get Americans at least help if they are trying to quit from smoking or, again, try to prevent it. So kind of a big push on cancer research, at least talked about in the State of the Union. Economy, spent time on that, and let's be honest again, and what good can you say about the economy? Again, talked about jobs, but economy does not reflect, as positive outlook as it was said. So, again, overall, my takeaways for the State of the Union, again, it kind of seems, again, it kind of depends on where you look to. Again, a recap of that State of the Union. One side, hey, was happy and joyous. The other side was, hey, it was just kind of, not what we want or not what realistic. We expected. It was something, again, my takeaways of, again, it's kind of with any State of the Union by any president of, hey, you're trying to paint a pretty picture of what is kind of, does it reflect the reality on within, the state borders? Not necessarily. Again, it just depends on specific areas. But, again, you look to here in the state of Wyoming, especially as you look at, again, economy. Yes, there are jobs aplenty. That is fine and dandy. That was never the issue here in the state of Wyoming. It's more so, again, you look at gas prices rising back up, cost of living, everything that we've talked about here since the start of the pandemic. It's a situation that kind of continues to get worse. And again, you're seeing it, first and foremost here, especially here in Cheyenne.
All right, here's all of my takeaways. And again, I'm on the right side of the aisle. All I heard from that State of the Union was, we're going to do this. We're going to spend. We're going to spend Where's the money coming from?
Yeah, the Build Back Better program that has been talked about a plenty. Again, the infrastructure rework, similar kind of, again, we're at least with Biden being the VP under the Obama years, again, with the Obama plan, again, most notably, again, you look to I-25 construction. I do believe that entire stretch of that I-25 road work down there in Colorado is all funded by, again, that infrastructure, at least project funded by the Obama administration a couple of years ago. It's something that, yes, spending was talked about plenty to, again, invest back into America's future. But, again, we talk about that debt situation right now with the U.S. It's, again, well surpassed over $1 trillion. And, again, it keeps on growing. It's something that.
Like $31 trillion we're at?
It's something that, again, we've known about it. It has not been alleviated. Will it ever be, again, will this country ever have profit more than debt? I highly doubt it.
No.
It's something that.
We're broke.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real honest. We're broke, and just interest payments alone on that $30+ trillion debt will never pay it off. And again, obviously, I won't be around to see it get worse or better. Curbing spending, curbing inflation are two of the things that Joe Biden did not talk about. And again, is he out of touch with reality? Absolutely. Is he
I think most politicians are. But
is he a likable guy? Well, that remains to be seen. There's a lot of things that were spoken, and I'm sure, too, with Representative Hageman when she comes in. Let's look at a couple of things here. First off, taxes. We're not going to tax anybody. The middle class is going to be okay. But again, inflation. Let's talk about the word inflation. That is a tax. I went to the grocery store yesterday. A dozen eggs, $6. Now, I know we've had the avian flu and all that, but again, gasoline, as you mentioned, $3.50 a gallon. We're tapping into our reserves, and now we're turning around and selling that to our enemy, which would be China. Let's see what else. And then talking about taxes. First off, and I'm a little mad at the Republicans right now. And this is something I would address with Harriet Hageman. The Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, first said, hey, we got to get in there and get rid of 87,000 IRS agents. Imagine how much that put onto the books by bringing them on. Now what they're going to do, and here's the next thing that they're going to be looking at, they want to tax tips. So if you are in...
Which is absolutely ridiculous. And again, there's clearly, again, there's workarounds on that. And again, hopefully, again, a lot of those workers, if it comes true again, hopefully those workers that, again, live off of tips, again, especially in the restaurant industry, again, avoid that situation or find those workarounds. But yeah, it's a complete joke. Again, the stance on the IRS situation with the adding of agents, again, that was completely ridiculous. I'm on the extreme vein of get rid of the IRS entirely. Again, I think that organization there's no point have that around at all. But again, economy where, again, regarding the inflation where you say it's a taxation, again, it definitely feels like a taxation, but it's something that where are these issues stemming from, again, regarding egg prices right now? Is that something that farmers are taking advantage of, hey, here's a scare that, again, is getting national attention. Does it really reflect the amount of eggs that are available to against consumers around this nation? Is it something that farmers are taking advantage of, or at least kind of upping those costs? And again, is that a trickle down from, again, regulations on the federal side?
Let's talk about the home industry. Are homeowner, let's just say new builders taking advantage of those that are prospecting to buy a home? We're talking about inflation. Yeah. What is the Fed doing? The Fed's raising rates, so you can't even go and apply. You can apply for a Fed for a 30-year note or a 20-year note, whatever the case may be. Inflation right now, every time inflation kicks a little higher, the Fed has to raise rates because they need money.
Yeah.
So again, that's a taxation on the middle class. They're basically saying, hey, if you want to buy a home, you're going to pay
X amount of interest rate.
Regarding the economy, and again, the talk of, at least regarding the State of the Union for the economy, nothing that President Biden really said really, at least from my eyes, intrigued me that, oh, we're going to get out of this. Nothing, again, it seemed like it was more spending. We're adding to it. Again, that trickles on down to average Joe taxpayer without a doubt. And that's kind of the concern of, yes, we got plenty of jobs, but we still have a good workforce that is just sitting at home right now and doesn't want a job or is finding other ways. It's something that it's a concern right now with the economy and with inflation. Will it go away anytime soon? I don't foresee it, especially, with the promise of, again, building into infrastructure or, again, the Build Back Better plan for America. I just, right now for inflation, it seems like what President Biden said in the State of the Union doesn't give me any hope that, again, in 24, 25, 26, we will all of a sudden be, again, things will be back to pre-COVID years.
If he's reelected, we're going to be in deeper trouble than we are now.
I don't see how right now, and again, this is my mind's eye, again, here in the state of Wyoming, how this guy gets elected again. I have friends that did vote for the guy that kind of look on, the couple of years now with President Biden in going,
why did I do this?
There's a lot of voter regret. And it's something that, will this guy get reelected? Again, it depends on who's he opposing right now, where obviously things are going to start heating up here very soon of, again, who are those mainstay Republicans that step on out. Again, we know President Trump will at least attempt for reelection, but who else is going to stand up and try to go after, at least oppose him on that our side? So,
well, you look at the situation with Joe Biden, and if you watch the entire, I think it was 72 minutes State of the Union address, you could tell. And again, the president's 80 years old, all right? So he is our oldest leader that has been at the microphone. Yeah, I mean, he's even older than Reagan before Reagan stepped down or, finished his second term. The thing is, you could tell he does not speak well. And
the guy shows signs of
cognitive decline.
Fringe senile at this point. Again, it is definitely concerning.
It's say cognitive decline.
Let's be honest. So again, he the mental, at least, faculties right now for President Biden.
And do you really want a guy like that running the country?
No, not really.
I mean, this is the guy who's got his finger on the button.
Which, again, was the same argument for President Trump as well, too, with him being a little unhinged. But, yeah, again, same I'd equate to President Biden. Again, not saying that, he's going to have that kind of senior moment, air quotes, on pushing a button. But it is a little concerning, again, of where you hear with the speeches, you've seen it in clips of him struggling, whether it is just climbing stairs or again riding a bike in that infamous moment. It's something that, yeah, it is a little concerning. And you got to wonder, again, as we approach 2024, our voters on that D side that did go for him kind of show that as concern of this guy. He's, again, nothing against his age, but there's signs of concern right now.
Needs to, retire. That's what he
needs. And showed it a little bit in that speech. Again, tripped on his words. Again, we all do without a doubt. But it seemed like he had a lot of difficulties.
Usually in the State of the Union, even on your political party side, your State of the Union usually hits a home run. He did not hit a home run. Matter of fact, I think one of the more liberal-type Democrats that, is in Biden's corner only gave him a B+ for the speech. So,
like I said, yeah, there was nothing. The only takeaway from this was it was more so of infighting between, again, Congress and the president, where, again, we had a lot of booing, a lot of back and forth. It was just kind of bickering. It felt like that. Again, it was kind of a battle on that floor in the State of the Union. It just kind of put more in my mind, again, on the political scene of, again, what of a joke it is.
Here's where he's out of touch. Again, talking about how the Republicans want to mess with Social Security and Medicare, and the Republicans have been very staunch about, hey, we don't want to mess with this. And then he backtracked. Oh, okay. It was like, when he got booed almost out of the building, then he backtracked. Says, okay, yeah, we're together on this. He is not a bipartisan type of guy. He's a total different character than he was on the U.S. Senate floor when he was a senator out of Delaware. He was
he was just as bad on the Senate
Well, yeah, but
again back in the day.
But
it
again,
was something that got. He was more extreme back then.
You look at the old clips of him where he was more willing to cross and work bipartisan.
He broke with those deals, but again, what politician doesn't?
He's not a bipartisan guy. He is, and I don't want to use the word bought and paid for, but basically everything is going to be his way, or it's his way or the highway.
But again,
and guess what? The
who
Republicans
is right
tell
now?
him to go pound sand.
Who is bipartisan right now? There is very few. Again, we've seen that we're in a day and age, and again, we'll have Harriet Hageman, and where again, I asked her at least that question when we had her on a few months ago. Again, leading into that primary of again, why do we not reach across party lines? Well, we got to look after for ourselves. We got to look after our own. Again, get our own policies. Some of their policies are on the extreme. It's something that it is a team sport now. Again, we know politics right now. Again, we're seated here even in the state of Wyoming with this current legislative session, that it is a team sport of you're on this team, you play for this team, you don't care about the others. They are our opponent, and we want to take them down. We do not reach across that party line. Again, is it a criticism against Joe Biden to not go across that party line? No, because no one else is doing it. President Trump really didn't do it either as well, too. Again, he was staunch on those kind of conservative sides. It's something that is the day and age of politics that, again, who is truly bipartisan? Not a whole hell of a lot of people
Well,
are
there's very few that are down the middle anymore on both the Republican and Democratic side. You got the extreme left, you got the extreme right. I'm not going to argue that. But the thing that you see right now with Joe Biden, like I said, it's his way or the highway. And guess what? He's got to go again. The Congress holds the purse strings. Well, guess what? The Republicans are in charge of the House. So again, that's the people's house. They're going to basically vote down, and and again, he says, "Well, I'll veto." Well, they're going to override his veto.
All you're seeing right now is an inverse of, again, 2016 to 2020 with President Trump, where, again, it was, hey, it's my way or the highway. And, again, you had opposition within Congress against him, again, fighting back. And, again, also, too, same with the nation. It's something that what you're seeing with President Biden, again, we've been through this story. Again, it's just now it's a different color. It's a different letter in front of that guy's name. That's all it is you're just it's continuing, it's repeating the cycle. And again, for me, as I stand right now, again, 32 going on 33, it's something that as a U.S. citizen, here I am, average Joe, again, media head here in Cheyenne, Wyoming, I see this, and again, it fuels the fire. It fuels the fact that, again, politics, Fed, and somewhat now as it trickles down to the state, as what I see here in Wyoming, again, even on kind of a local side, again, the political game is a joke.
Well,
it's
political game.
Extremely corrupt, as we know as it is.
Yeah.
And it's something that, do these representatives, do these senators, does the presidency really care about the average citizen?
Well,
I don't see it.
Here's the deal.
I don't see it, and I don't feel it.
Well, here's the deal. You look at the Trump years as president, got a lot done. And again, too, was he mired in controversy like almost every quarter of his presidency?
Yeah.
Yes, he was. Did he overcome all of those falsehoods? Because they were proven to be falsehoods. Yes, he did. He still ran the country. Everything was good up until pandemic hit. Then he loses the election to Joe Biden. Biden comes in and says, I'm going to be the great unifier. What has he done? He has split this country more apart than ever. Because, again, you got to be kidding me.
I don't know if that is completely true.
You and I can't even have a discussion on politics because I'm going to sit here on my right side. You're going to try to be in the middle or be a libertarian, as I think you say you are. But the thing is, we're still going to not be even close to agreeing on stuff. And one thing that I've seen that Joe Biden has done.
The only time this country has been, again, here in the 2000s, the only time frame that we've been close, you got to go to the early Bush years after post 9/11, where again we were one nation. Again, we were after one enemy, and again the horrific attacks that happened there in New York City. Again, also too with D.C. and again out there in Pennsylvania. It's something that was the only time this country has really been unified. Again, you look to the Obama years. Yes, it seemed like a lot of the nation was, you had the hope, you wanted the change, absolutely, but. Look at all the infighting, or at least the back and forth, especially on the R side, saying, hey, this guy's a joke, and we don't want him in. And again,
yeah.
it seemed like once Obama got in those first years, that's where this kind of separating of the nation kind of really grew and grew. Trump kind of fueled that fire. Biden right now, yes, are we as one nation right now under President Biden? Not even close. Far from it.
And I'll go back to Trump, whether you like the guy or not. And again, if he's going to run for a second term, which he's already announced he's going to run, my point is President Trump needs to get off Twitter. Again, you can give us the news and tell us.
He's not even on Twitter right now.
Well, you know what I'm saying. You need to stop being sarcastic. What you need to be is talking presidential. What are you going to do for us? What are you going to do if you get back into Pennsylvania Avenue again and be the next president of the United States? But the thing is here.
It's something concerning as well, too, with some of his recent statements coming out, again, on his social media platform where, again, he's got a lot of criticism from Republicans on some of the stuff he has said that even I go and look, and as I read that, I go, that was not the best of takes, and it's something concerning again. Where at least for me in 24, again, the goal from my end is yes, got to get rid of President Biden. And again, there's an umpteenth list of why the guy needs to get out, in my opinion. But again, of the options, again with the independents, we're going to see if there's a strong character that comes out again representing the libertarian or an independent sake, or on the R side where there's good potentials on that conservative side, but a worry that a Trump, who again already lost to Joe Biden, if he becomes that Republican representative, does he have enough gusto to get back in, and again takes away from a potential good candidate that could dethrone one Joe Biden?
Here's what Trump proved as opposed to most presidents. Trump proved he's a businessman. He ran the country as a business. Joe Biden is a career politician. If I'm not mistaken, I think he was an attorney. And again, he's surrounded himself with Scholar America. Okay? Trump tried to get business people in his administration to continue to run the country as a business.
Biden also too is trying to get blue collar as well. Again, he that's kind of been his stance. So he's always been that blue collar union guy as well too.
Well, you know what? It's not working.
I don't buy into it, but again, he's not just purely Scholar America. It's been also to blue collar of union workers.
Well, again, I kind of liken his presidency right now to the movie. Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield, where he's in class in the economics class, and they're talking about building a factory, and he's over there telling the professor, this is the way you do it. And the professor says, no, we're going to do it this way. And he goes, what should we call our business? He said, where should we build our business? And Rodney Dangerfield comes back, Fantasyland. Because, again, Scholar America doesn't know how to write a paycheck. Scholar America does not know how to run a daily business. And that's what he's got. He's got too many people there in his administration right now that are not in touch with the U.S., and I'm talking the entire United States. Because, again, and then we break down classes. We have rich, we have middle class, and we have the poor. Well, right now, what is the backbone of the country is the middle class. And if I heard, and this is just my opinion, if I heard that State of the Union right, it sounds like Biden wants to wipe out the middle class. He wants us to be dependent. He wants you and me to be dependent on government. I don't want to be dependent on government.
I don't either as well. That's got a scary thought as well too.
And I believe in capitalism.
It's something that, as of right now, again, here we are, 23, again, 3 years into this presidency with, again, one more to go, hopefully, again, the final one, at least for me. But, again, for President Biden, again, you talk about the middle class getting screwed over. Again, guy who, or at least a class, again, President Biden kind of rode the coattails of, or at least said, hey, I'm going to be your guy, is, again, that poor class right now, and it seems like, especially how things are going, the other one's getting screwed over just as much as the middle class. It's, again, those under that kind of six-figure income right now here in this country are getting screwed over in a big way, in a big time. So right now, again, the State of the Union, like I said, it was a speech that really didn't give any promise, hope, changes. We'll see what comes of it in the next couple of, at least the remaining kind of time until that midterm election cycle begins for President Biden. But again,
he got no momentum out of this.
Yeah, it's something that, again, there was bullet points, again, whether it was talking big pharma, also, too, you mentioned fentanyl as well, too, but it really didn't address the problem, saying, hey, we got to prevent doctors from prescribing this or at least kind of abusing it, which, again, I get, and yes, there are, without a doubt, again, those doctors around the nation, and big pharma is a big issue as well, too, in this country, that again, hey, we got to stop that, but again, as we've talked with others and you kind of see the reality is it's a border issue as well, too, regarding fentanyl and drugs. Of that's got to be addressed. But again, he kind of touched on the issue, but didn't talk about the full problem. Yeah.
And again, too, where's the fentanyl coming from? The illegal fentanyl. See, here's the deal with Biden.
I think, again, in my opinion, it's I would say majority of it does come from the border, but there are those doctors that we're starting to see that trend right now, again, of doctors within his country's borders kind of cash, at least put a little extra cash in their pocket, saying, hey, here's a couple extra doses, here's a little extra pills on the side, here you go, congratulations.
You want the easiest take on Joe Biden? He's got two hands, right? He's got his hand in my pocket, taking what's inside my pocket, and he's got his hands in those other places, and I'm talking about other countries where he's got his hand in their pocket as well, too.
The Ukraine situation talked about that, which, again, in my opinion, it's a tough thing that, again, those folks have to deal with out there in Ukraine, but is it something that we need to continue sending money and advanced weapons to a suspect country where, for me, again, I believe on it. Again, it's kind of ancient thought. It was something that kind of President Trump was kind of alluding to, again, that theory of isolationism, of where, again, you kind of focus on your country, build within, and again, everyone. But I'm just saying, it's something that, do we need to go back to that kind of policy, especially regarding foreign policy? Yeah. Why do we need to be the police force of the world? Why do we need to meddle in other foreign wars or anything? Let them figure it out. Obviously, they'll do it. Why do we need to keep supplying them? Why do we need to keep sending money that way? I don't see it. We can send on a citizens level, again, Red Cross aid to them, to the, especially to the Turkey earthquake as well too. But on the Fed side, does the Fed need to take our money and, again, allocate those funds
on behalf? Got to ask Joe Biden why he's doing that. See, here's the deal too. You go back, again, you look at bits and pieces of that State of the Union address. And Senator Murkowski of Alaska, who's been criticized, whether she's middle or leans a little more to the left, she was on Biden like a cheap suit. How can you allow that balloon to come into our country? And she's the first one to see it in Alaska.
Yeah, and who knows with what information the FBI, CIA
we shot it down in South Carolina. So in the meantime, that balloon trekked through all of our, again, as they say, it was a weather balloon in China. We know it was a spy balloon. But the bottom line is it cruised through key states, Montana, Wyoming, going in through Missouri. Guess what? We got military installations all over the place. And again,
it's not like this balloon
he was just so nonchalant about it. Well, we shot it down.
Well, and again, who knows, how deep in the pocket he is to, again, with China, again, where, hey, let's be a hush-hush, or, hey, it's not as big of a deal as, again, it may seem. Again, who knows right now until those reports, if at all, come out of, again, the true, at least reality. And at least from what I read about that balloon, it was more regarding telecommunications, again, kind of gathering that. So a little concerning without a doubt. But again, it's not surprising the slow response to it, and also to why the kind of one sentence kind of line or addressing of that balloon by Joe Biden was, again, is the guy got a little, at least hand in pocket to China, or is there a little something behind the door scene going on between those two? I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised.
The best thing of that State of the Union address was the response by Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the governor of Arkansas. I think her address was a hell of a lot more enthusiastic and more life-changing than listening to Biden's speech. All right,
I didn't listen.
Yeah, well, that's what you need to do. You got to hear both sides of the story.
A response speech, though, again, does not do anything.
Oh, well, that's the new generation of politician.
She's the governor of Arkansas. Again, what does she hold, again, compared on the federal side? So
she's also been part of the Trump administration.
I'm just saying, again, a response by an Arkansas governor where, again, what change is that going to come from?
It's the people. She talks to the people. Biden doesn't talk to the people.
Sarah Huckabee Sanders does not speak for me. I'll say that.
Well, she talks to I said she talks to the people, not for the people. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back with more of KRAE Reports that we can review. We're back after this.
For almost 60 years, 1480 KRAE has been Cheyenne's home for good times and great oldies. Add to that live play-by-play sports featuring high school football and basketball, along with LCCC men's and women's basketball. Now combo that with KYOY FM and you have Cheyenne and the area's only locally owned AM and FM radio stations. But we don't stop there. We also have 2 FM translators which serve the area with programming from both KRAE and KYOY. And that equals a lot of bang for your advertising dollar. Radio yesterday and now today, along with our websites, web streams, and digital ventures makes us your one-stop shop. For more information, please call Larry Proetti at 307-637-0301.
We are the key to your cleaning success. The Key People that provides affordable office and professional cleaning services for over 40 years with exceptional customer care. All of our contractors have background checks and are licensed and bonded. We guarantee you a safe and secure service that is tailored to your individual and business needs. The Key People do not impose year-long contracts, and all quotes are free, confidential, and personalized. Call Key People at 1-800-468-8283. That's 1-800-468-8283.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-298-5783. 800-298-5783. 800-298-5783. That's 800-298-5783.
Now that the colder weather is upon us, it's more important than ever to make sure that your brakes on your vehicle are operating at 100%. So if you noticed a grinding or squeaky noise every time you brake, then it's high time you stop into the Brake Stop at 1622 East Lincoln Way, where Wayne and his crew will fit your car or truck with the best brakes to go along with best service and the best price. Wherever your travels take you, and whatever weather conditions Mother Nature throws at you, you can always feel confident that the brakes on your vehicle came from the Brake Stop. Call 307-514-6231 or drop by to 1622 East Lincoln Way in Cheyenne.
Do you have Medicare and do you use a CPAP machine? This is a national healthcare alert regarding your CPAP supplies. Using a clean CPAP mask and clean supplies is important to staying healthy. The best way to make sure your CPAP equipment is clean is to get new supplies. If you have Medicare, we have great news. Medicare will pay for you to have new clean supplies every 90 days. We'll even do all the paperwork for you to make sure that there's little to no out-of-pocket cost to you. And you don't even have to leave your home. We provide free in-home delivery. So if you're a CPAP user and you have Medicare, staying healthy with new CPAP equipment is easy. Just make this free phone call right now to get started.
Sponsored by Specialty Medical. 800-245-3098. 800-245-3098. 800-245-3098. That's 800-245-3098.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
On tap for this afternoon, sunshine, expected daytime high near 54. Mostly cloudy and blustery for tonight, low down to 28. Mostly sunny and cooler for tomorrow. We're looking for a daytime high of 34. Windy conditions, westerly winds at 25 to 30, gusting as high as 50. And for Tuesday night, snow likely mainly after midnight. Our low dropping down to 8 degrees, blustery conditions, northerly winds at 20 to 25, gusting as high as 40. And welcome back to KRAE Reports, a week in review. Interesting story that came from Thermopolis over the weekend. U.S. Senator Cynthia Lummis has been condemned by the Republican State Central Committee for her, I guess, her vote in favor of the Respect for Marriage Act that was brought forth last November. And, again, this is where you see the Republicans here in Wyoming. The Republicans are conservative to ultra-conservative. And again, I mean, you know, there are some extreme cases. But let's first look at the positives of Cynthia Lummis. You know, back in the days when President Trump was there, when she was coming in as a U.S. Senator, always was in the corner of President Trump. She always votes conservative or Republican. And matter of fact, looking at her voting record here,
I would say.
No, let me finish her. She gets a 94% rating from American Conservative Union, 100% rating from National Right to Life Committee, and 93% rating with FreedomWorks. That to me, that's a work right there.
In your opinion?
No, again, the percentages is when you're in school. That's an A.
Either way, again, where these numbers are coming from, or again, that whole rating system, again, who cares? But it's something that, for Senator Lummis, again, at least regarding this situation where, again, I don't know why you said it's surprising. Again, we've known this is happening here in the state of Wyoming, again, with the GOP parties, again, throughout the various, at least counties here in the state that, again, they were trying to censor or, again, try to, again, go against her recent vote on this same-sex marriage bill that, again, was at least proposed a couple months ago and again has moved forward. But you know, it's something that I like in this article by the Cowboy State Daily. Again, took a couple quotes from Senator Lummis. Again, would love to have her on the show again. I've reached out to her a couple times. Again, hopefully we'll get back at some point. But again, I give her respect for kind of clapping back towards again these individuals out of Thermopolis, saying, hey, you're for, you know, your Republican Party is for individual freedom, for individual rights. Then why are you giving me grief for voting on something like this, for a marriage bill that, again, allows individuals to, again, whatever preference that they decide on, to marry however the hell they want to. So I give her respect for, again, standing up for herself, voting the way that she wants to. And I think that's where I give credit to Senator Lummis of, you know, she doesn't kind of follow that true party lines, even though, again, she is still on that conservative side. But, again, she kind of votes with her heart. And that's kind of the individual you want in office of vote the way that you feel is best.
Well,
or again, what you want.
The party, again, she is a member of the Republican Party here in Wyoming. It adheres to the ideal of marriage being between one man and one woman. And that Lummis's vote for the Respect for Marriage Act is in direct contradiction to the Wyoming Republican Party platform. So, again, Wyoming is upset with
which is ancient and which is ridiculous.
Which is properly approved by the Republican Party that the senator was elected to represent. So that's the state party is condemning her for that vote. Now let's talk about.
This is also to a state that allows, again, underage folks to get married as well, too. So, again, a little kind of backwoods country-esque on that kind of, at least lenient as well. But it's something that, again, where for me on a personal rights, personal freedom, again, with the same sex, again, this is surprising that it's come back into realm, especially here in the state of Wyoming, where, again, it's in my mind's eye, and again, my generation, where, again, I get there's a religious sect to it of, again, why we are opposed to it, but it's what harm is it doing to you? It's not affecting you or your family or anything like that. Who cares?
It's everyday life.
Let whoever.
I know, but it's everyday life. I mean, again, if you watch television commercials, you see same-sex
Are you
type
offended by that? Hey, it's a reality. Who cares?
Yeah, you know, no, I'm not offended by it.
Not like they're trying to marry you.
No, it's one of those situations where it is a fact of life these days.
And there's different people from you. There's different people out there. There's different colors of people out there.
And it's not taboo like it used to be. So
it just has that feel of old thought that, again, is dying and decaying. And again, hell, even look to again, Saudi Arabia of all countries right now that is moving into more kind of women's rights. It's something of they're trying to look past, again, Islamic views of, again, that same sex. That a country that was on the vein out there in the Middle East of, hey, we condemn it wholeheartedly.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia.
But again, we criticize that Middle East of having that thinking out there, again, those extreme views and, again, the extreme actions that they do regarding that situation. But it's surprising that here within the U.S. and especially here in the state of Wyoming that we still have individuals and we still have representatives that still find this as an issue where I thought, again, especially during the Obama years, didn't we make this legal? Didn't we say, hey, cool, it's fine and dandy, let's move on. Who cares? It's something that I don't see it. I don't see it as an issue. And I'm surprised that folks still see it as an issue. I get it that it is, again, regarding that religious sect, but it's something that, again, what harm is it doing to you?
Well, again, it's up to the states. And, again, this state is predominantly dominated by the Republican Party. So, again, they pretty much have the foothold, and they have the say-so. Again, too, same thing, too, Nick. Let's talk about gambling. Let's look at here just in Cheyenne, changing the subject. We have off-track betting. We got about 8 sites here in Cheyenne alone. But yet, every time it goes to the legislature, it gets voted down. Gambling. We have it on the Wind River Indian Reservation, where Native Americans have that opportunity to run a casino. But would you call off-track betting sites here in Wyoming, would you call them casinos? They got games.
I
pari-mutuel
guess,
games.
but it's something that, again, should casinos exist? Should, again, gambling be legal here in the state? Yeah, I have no issue with it. Again, I'm coming from, or at least, again, I'm here 5-6 years of living into, again, the main city that is about gambling of Las Vegas.
You still have that sect of the right.
It's a sect, and again, it's a state, and we've addressed this many a time, and it's something that even our elected officials kind of talk about. It's again, it's a base of population, especially on that kind of those who hold power or at least have the say so that make laws here in this state. Again, it's an older breed. It's a very heavy older breed that is in those positions of power here in the state of Wyoming.
Reelected. And so what are you going to do?
That's the concern, and it's something that, with that being said, it's something that's why the feeling here in the state still has that 50s, 60s kind of S mentality where we're so far behind the times, at least it feels like. And again, for those elected officials, and it's same with even when we had Mayor Collins in, they're starting to see that trends of, again, my generation, or at least my age group, is leaving the state's borders because what's keeping us around where other states are kind of moving forward with things. Where, for my situation, is same-sex marriage a massive concern, or it's something that, again, that Fed state need to speak upon right now? No. My main concern is economy, is economic issues, is taxes, is, again, making sure that, again, I can afford the food, I can afford housing, I can afford this or that. That's kind of my main concern. Again, same-sex does not seem like right now, it feels like this country, majority of it, has kind of moved past that, accepted it, and said, okay, who cares? Go right ahead. And let's move on to a bigger and better situation.
Well, you mentioned that we have this 50s, 60s-esque mentality.
It does. It really does.
You know what?
That kind of goes with the older guard that's now in charge.
And folks like living in the Leave It to Beaver and My Three Sons neighborhoods because, again, they're safe. They know that they've got a job. They know that they can pay their bills and they can pay their taxes. They have a lifestyle that is good out in this part of the world. And I disagree with you. I think we have more people coming into Wyoming than leaving right now because, you know why? Because, A, tax rate is low. None for personal taxes. You only have to pay Fed taxes here. Second of all,
you realize there's other states that offer that too.
Property taxes are very inexpensive.
There's other states that offer, again,
that's
the
fine.
Same rate.
If you want to go to Florida, go to Florida. I don't have a problem. But I'm just saying, people are coming to Wyoming too because of its values.
You go back to your Leave It to Beaver example or whatnot. Again, say same-sex marriage couple comes into your neighborhood. Are we assuming, again, by your at least example, are we saying that, again, same-sex marriage couple comes into your neighborhood, sets up shop, that all of a sudden, again, it turns into the sixth level of hell? All because they want to settle into your neighborhood because, again, they married or, again, wanted to be in a relationship with someone of their same gender? Who cares? I don't see that at all, and it's something that, again, it's so just it's such behind the times, and that's the issue I have with the state is, again, we're so behind the times on situations. Again, it took however long to get the lottery in. The lottery. Yes, I get that there's harm with it, but again, it's something that I see, especially with marijuana legislation, with anything else, as we're starting to see that kind of progressiveness, kind of get into a lot of these states of, I don't have that, even though lottery's legal here in the state, it doesn't drive me the need to go and buy a lottery ticket every single day.
But
I have what is control. I have that mental willpower to go, I don't need to spend that money.
But here's the ironic part of all of this. Each November of the even years, first Tuesday of each November, you have an opportunity to kick out the old guard, but you don't do it. I mean, we sit here, and even President Trump said, hey, and I think in this next situation, if Trump is elected, let me finish. If he is elected, he will be cleaning out the swamp. But the part is, do you think we got a swamp here in Wyoming with senators and representatives?
In my mind, again, it's across the entire nation. RD, whatever it is, again, it's a swamp filled from fed to, again, on down to the state level, where, again, it's something that, again, politics in this nation needs a systematic change just overall, where, again, we are seeing it. Again, our state is the prime example. Look to our city council as well, too. Again, we have those repeat. We get the same ideas, the same values, the same mentality in year in and year out.
And again, go back
but you say that, but again, we looked back to, again, and we even had that discussion with a fellow, representative of the state legislator again, talking about the situation. It's something that you look to the ballots, look to the general election ballots. There was a lot of folks that, again, were getting elected to those state positions that were unopposed. Unopposed, that got immediately into that position. That's kind of the concern where, again, in this state, especially on the heavy R side, which, again, no issue with. As I stand, and again, I probably lean more on that R side, again, especially with the economics, but it's something that's kind of the concern right now here in the state. There are no opposing voices, or there are no those that do not step up and kind of challenge those. Or, again, those challenges
that's apathy.
But it's something that, again, is a concern, and we see it year in and year out, or at least those election cycles. We saw it this time around where, again, on the legislative side and city council side, again, we're more apt to go with what we're familiar with than the potential change or the new face. We saw it three different times with city council.
Okay, and I'm going to show you the opposite of that. When I had a property down in Telluride, and again, that is primarily blue. And I looked at their election results from the November when I was down there, and more blue ran unopposed because in that particular county, it was the same as it is here in Wyoming.
Again, Wyoming's not the isolated state of this issue. It's a systematic problem across the U.S., and it's something that, again, changes need to come. And that's why I bring up, again, we look to the Utahs of the world. There are other states that are adopting that kind of at least locality bill of saying, hey, we're no longer going D versus R. No, it's kind of, here it is, kind of shake them up Boggle style, and here you go. Here's 5 or whatever the number may be candidates. Pick and choose who you think is going to be the best.
Let me throw this out at you. Here's Dianne Feinstein, U.S. Senator, who's pretty much out of it right now. She's even worse shape than Joe Biden. Or Nancy Pelosi. All we've heard, and again, from our side of the aisle, from the right side of the aisle, is complaint. So the Republicans mount a challenger, and we'll just use you as an example against either Pelosi or Dianne Feinstein for argument's sake. But let's do this, with them. They're in a predominantly blue state, and in that situation, they're already up 20 points before the first ballots are even cast. Pelosi's in a district that has been, if you go look at her numbers, every year that she's been reelected, like the lady or not, she always wins 3-1. So, and again, maybe that candidate was good, whether he was an R or an I don't care. The point is, again, with what they call redistricting, or as I called it back when I went to school, gerrymandering.
Which it still is that, or at least in my opinion.
You know, again, Pelosi doesn't even have to put up a sign, and she's going to win her district. So, again,
look even on a presidential election where, again, we can look to the Texas of the world, the Wyomings of the world. We look to California's, again, the entire West Coast, where, again, we get barely a percentage of vote in immediately as soon as those polls close, and we go blue, 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 red, red, red. It's just like that. Again, it's concerning, and it's something that, again, I think that it's an ancient political style that clearly has its flaws. And, again, it's been brought up to the foremost front, again, whether it was past presidential election at least cycle. Again, you looked at the 2016 situation with Clinton and Trump. Again, I look to even here in the state of Wyoming with, again, how it is. And, again, that's the level of concern that I have, is that it's an older guard in charge here in this state that still holds on to, again, those kind of, and I'm going to use this phrasing of ancient values and viewpoints that
vote them out.
Does not.
Let me ask you a question. Did you vote?
I can't.
What do you mean you can't?
I'm not registered here in the state of Wyoming.
Well,
I still have Nevada.
But you can register. You've been living.
No, I can't. Not with my license. I still have Nevada.
Well, you might want to change it over to a Wyoming driver's license.
I'm happy with my Nevada license because I go out to Vegas enough that I get all the perks and benefits when I go.
Guys like you have no podium to stand on until you get out there and make your voice heard. Because I still believe in one person, one vote, and it does make a difference. You may say no.
Not really.
Well, see, there you go. That attitude right there defeats the purpose. You don't have a right to even talk to me about this stuff. All right, we're going to take a break.
I like how you look down on me as well, too. Again,
I'm not looking down on you, Nick. Again, I'm just pointing out fact.
Who, again, I exercise my rights, or, again, well, granted, I at least I couldn't exercise my right just due to the fact that, again, at least something that I choose, again, keeping my, at least Nevada license, because it was valid for 8 years, and, again, I still like using those perks of that license. But either way, though, it's something that, again, it's an exercise of a right.
Okay.
Do I want to vote? Let
me ask you. I want to? Or here's the next dumb question then. And again, I'm not trying to be a smart arse about this. What I'm saying to you is, you got a Nevada license. Did you vote in the Nevada election?
Yeah.
You did vote.
2016, yeah.
Did you vote in 2020? Did you vote in 2022?
Where was I in 2020? Again,
you're here, but you still have a Nevada license. Can't you register as a Nevada citizen?
No. There's some weird, at least, again, thing about it, again, regarding my license, again, establishing residency here in the state of Wyoming. So, again, until I change that out, which, again, should be done by 24. So, again, I'll be able to wherever I live at that time. So, again, who knows? But either way, though, again, it's something that voting right now, you're starting to see it. A lot of folks, again, take that choice of, again, electing to not vote or, again, step away from the polls because it's not attractive. There's no trust. Who cares? Again, is this person really in for the best interest of me? And, again, as it stands right now, even if I were to vote, especially in this previous general election, especially on the local side, where, again, if you're criticizing me, you criticize everyone else in the state that did not vote, which, again, was a very low turnout as well, too. That you criticize those folks that, again, did not go out because, again, there was nothing attractive out there. Again, it was the same old, and it's something that, again, politicians have that kind of bad mindset, at least to me and few others. And I think it might be a good majority that, again, of the political scene, whether it is from local to the Fed, are they really looking out for the best interests of you?
Here's my deal. If you don't go out and vote, you have no right to gripe to me because I voted. I voted what I felt was right. And those that don't vote, even though we
they're still citizens,
and we knew the primary was the key prize here in Wyoming, and we knew it was going to be a drop off for the general. But the point is,
I love that how you see that those who do not vote, again, all of a sudden need to lose their rights or, again, are no longer U.S. citizens.
I didn't say that.
You kind of implied that without a doubt.
I said don't gripe.
Oh, you don't have a chance to, again, step up and use your First Amendment, at least right.
I'm just saying, if you didn't vote, don't come griping to me. That's it. Yeah, I don't think you have a platform.
You're also, too, at least in my mind's eye, again, part of the problem.
How am I part of the problem?
Well, again, that could be a whole hour show.
I have,
and we've talked about it for about a good year now.
I have no problems with Cynthia Lummis. I think this condemnation was not right. I like I said, I've accepted the fact of same-sex marriage. I'm not happy with it, but hey, it's part of life.
But why is it still an issue here in the state?
You know what? You got to talk to the old guard. You're talking to me. You want to talk to guys like Charlie Scott, who ever since I've been here, he's been elected forever to the.
But like I said,
to the US,
it's something that I brought up
State House.
months ago as well too, regarding this situation and others that again have been brought up here in the state of Wyoming. Is it truly reflecting of the pulse of the state of Wyoming? Again, citizens from Cheyenne to Pine Bluffs to Albin to again up there in Gillette to Jackson Hole to Laramie, across the entire land. Does it reflect again how this GOP's party's reaction to again Senator Lummis's vote? Does it truly reflect again the feeling or the thoughts regarding that topic of citizens in this state? Me personally, I don't think so. I don't think it's as big of an issue as these GOP representatives make it out to be. And again, like I said, I give kudos to Senator Lummis, clapping back and saying, hey, you're wrong. You think you stand for this, but you go against me, which again is standing for what you think it is.
And Senator Lummis has every right to pop off about that, and also too, what she also has, she basically said to everybody, "Look at my record." She's got the record to back it up. All right, we are going to take a break. We are going to be talking with U.S. Representative from Wyoming, Harriet Hageman, coming in our studios here in just a little bit. You're listening to KRAE Reports, a week in review. I'm Larry Perotti. He's Nick Perotti. We're back after these words.
I'm Brandon Warner with the Silent Witness Crime of the Week. The Laramie County Sheriff's Office is seeking information related to a theft that occurred at Archer Event Center. On January 19th, the maintenance garage was entered. A white 2011 Ford Ranger and power tools were taken. If you have information about this or their crime, call Crime Stoppers Silent Witness at 638-TIPS or on the web at silentwitnesslarimecounty.com. You will remain anonymous and may be eligible for a cash reward of up to $1,000. Together, we can make a difference.
MHP is a certified public accounting and consulting firm located in Bow, Cheyenne, and Fort Collins, offering accounting, tax, and consulting services to businesses, not-for-profit, government, and individual clients. MHP takes pride in their commitment to providing close, personal attention to their clients. They also continue to invest time and resources in continuing education, state-of-the-art computer technology, and valuing their relationships with you. MHP is a proud supporter of local and UW athletics. MHP, 314 West 18th Street, or call 634-2151. Cheyenne Urological has been the cornerstone of urinary care to Cheyenne and its surrounding communities for over 30 years. With their fine expert doctors, along with their highly trained staff, they will provide top-quality treatment for prostate cancer, urinary tract infections, kidney stones, impotence, and incontinence. Cheyenne Urological is now offering cutting-edge robotic surgery. So call Cheyenne Urological at 635-4131 for compassionate, expert urinary care. That's 635-4131.
Hi, it's Lee at Absolute Flooring. It's time to put 2022 behind us and get 2023 off to a great start. The best way to do that is with new flooring from Absolute Flooring. With a large variety of flooring products and a multitude of styles, colors, and prices, your new floor awaits you. And with the best in installers, get your new year started off right with a stop at Absolute Flooring in the Cheyenne Plaza and at AbsoluteFlooringWIO.com. Remember, it's always your home, your floor, your store, absolutely.
Winter driving in Wyoming. Are you prepared? Winter storms strike quickly across Wyoming's high plains and the mountains. When they do, driving conditions can deteriorate rapidly and become very challenging. Make sure your vehicle is ready for the elements and you have an emergency preparedness kit available. Driving on slick roads, always remember slower speed, acceleration, steering, and braking. Also turn off the cruise control and always buckle up. Ice and snow. Take it slow. Know before you go. For travel info, call 511 or online at wyoroad.info. Paid for by Federal Highway Safety Funds.
How would you like to get high-speed internet for your home for less than $2 a day? That's right. For about $50 a month, you'll get lightning-fast internet. Are you paying less than $50 a month right now for your internet? Then call Whole Home Connect right now for blazing fast internet at $50 a month with no price increases, no hidden fees, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees. It's a great deal. And guess what? You can try it for 15 days. If you don't like it, you get your money back. But you're going to love it, and you're going to love the price. internet for your home for $50 a month. That's less than $2 a day. Plus, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees, and our 15-day guarantee. Call now. 800-245-1537. 800-245-1537. 800-245-1537. That's 800-245-1537.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
On tap for this afternoon, sunshine, expected daytime high near 54. Mostly cloudy and blustery for tonight, low down to 28. Mostly sunny and cooler for tomorrow. We're looking for a daytime high of 34. Windy conditions, westerly winds at 25 to 30, gusting as high as 50. And for Tuesday night, snow likely mainly after midnight. Our low dropping down to 8 degrees, blustery conditions, northerly winds at 20 to 25, gusting as high as 40.
This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne.
It's time now for something new for you. It's KRAE Reports, a week in review. And now let's check in with our program right here on 1480 KRAE Cheyenne. And good afternoon. Welcome to hour number 2 of KRAE Reports, a week in review. Larry Perotti along with Nick Perotti, and we are honored to have in our studio. And we had her a few months ago when she came in as a candidate for the U.S. House of Representatives. Now we can, put that tag, not candidate anymore, but our U.S. House of Representative Congresswoman Harriet Hageman joins us, and we are so honored to have her in. First off, our congratulations on being our representative here of the state of Wyoming. I guess my initial question out of the box to you is, we were talking about the State of the Union, being in the People's House, the full chamber of the People's House for the State of the Union. Again, not going to talk about one side or the other, but just your own personal absorption of that. That had to be overwhelming.
Well, it has been, first of all, it's wonderful to be back. Thank you for having me. And being in Congress has been quite an experience so far. We have hit the ground running. I have actually spent quite a bit of time in the House chamber in light of the fact that it took us 15 rounds of votes to get a Speaker of the House. And so it's obviously a beautiful facility. I love being in the Capitol. I love the artwork and the history and the bronzes in Statuary Hall, and having an opportunity to meet my fellow congressmen and congresswomen. And so it is, all of it has been an incredible experience, and one I'm very honored to serve Wyoming in that body.
And also, too, you just don't become a congressperson to sit there and just, sit in the chamber. You're also part of committees, judiciary that you have been, elected to, the Natural Resources Committee. You're also on the Select Subcommittee on the weaponization of the federal government. But the most important, I would think, they're all important, don't get me wrong, but the Judiciary Committee, correct me if I'm wrong, Congressman Jordan of Ohio heads that up. This is a very key committee that you're on, and I think the state of Wyoming should be very proud of the fact that you are representing our state on that committee.
So my two first choices for committees were the Natural Resource Committee, in light of Wyoming's interests, as well as the Judiciary Committee, in light of my history and background and the fact that I've been a trial attorney for 34 years, and most specifically a water, natural resource, and constitutional attorney for the last 25 years. So being on natural resources is obviously very important. I've been honored to be appointed as the chairwoman of the subcommittee on Indian and Insular Affairs. It's fairly unusual for a freshman to get a subcommittee gavel, but I will be doing that, overseeing our 574 tribes in the United States, as well as the 5 territories. As far as judiciary, absolutely. With my litigation background and the work that I've done with agencies and agency overreach and executive overreach in the federal government, being in the judiciary will give me the opportunity to work closely with my colleagues to get some real regulatory reform, which is desperately needed in this country. I am on 2 subcommittees with the Judiciary Committee, and that is, one of them is on the Constitution and Civil Rights, and then the other one is on administrative and regulatory issues. So again, things that are very much within my bailiwick, my history, my experience, the work I've done. And then, as you've noted, I have been selected to be on the Select Committee on the weaponization of the federal government. And we had our first hearing last week on the Select Committee. We were looking at First Amendment issues and the ways in which the FBI has been weaponized against sitting members of the U.S. Senate, as well as Tulsi Gabbard and others. We are focusing on First Amendment issues. We're focusing on what happened during COVID. We're focusing on the FBI. We're focusing on FISA court. We're focusing on lots of the ways in which the Department of Justice has gone after parents who are concerned about what's going on in their schools, their children's schools. We've also had one hearing already on the Judiciary Committee, and it is about the open border. We will be going to Yuma, Arizona next week and holding a field hearing in Yuma as the Judiciary Committee to get additional information about the open border. One of the points that I continuously make is that with Wyoming being 560,000 people, we've had over 10 times the population of the Wyoming coming across that border illegally in the last 2 years. I think that's a metric that people really need to understand, the kind of impact that kind of illegal immigration can have on a state like Wyoming and other states. So those are the committees and subcommittees I'm working on, and I look forward to pushing forward on addressing the issues that we will be looking into.
On top of the committees, also two co-sponsoring bills, as you've been busy in representing the state of Wyoming. Again, for instance, ending COVID vaccines for healthcare workers, which again is also to talk to here in the state legislative session. Same with also to Border and Safety Security Act. Those bills unfortunately did not pass here in the state, but again on the national side, again looking to get those moved forward. Freedom for Truckers Act, also to end taxpayer funding, as well as just some of those sponsored bills. But I want to talk with you as, again, fresh into it, and you're getting your feet kind of settled under you right now. But for the state of Wyoming, as you are representative here of the state, what, in your opinion, again, what you're hearing from these town halls, which we'll get into as well too, what's kind of the main concern for Wyoming citizens of something you want to tackle regarding, if it is, these co-sponsoring bills?
So I've already done 4 since I have been in Congress, which is just a little over a month since we were sworn in. We were sworn in at 1:41 in the morning on January 7th. So it's just a bit over a month. And since that time, I've done 4 town halls. I've been in Jackson, Lander, Casper, Gillette. I will then be going to Laramie, Pine Bluffs, and Pinedale this week. So I'm knocking these out to try to get out to visit with the communities. There are several things that are of great importance: energy independence and the current administration's war on our fossil fuel industries. So Wyoming has a target squarely on our back because we're the largest coal producer in the nation, one of the top oil and gas producers in the nation. 40% of the energy that is used in the United States of America comes from Wyoming. So obviously when you have an administration that is as hostile to energy independence as this one is, that's going to be at the top of people's minds. Another issue that is extremely important is illegal immigration for the reasons that I just mentioned. What has just been going on in the last 10 days in terms of the incursions that we're seeing with the Chinese spy balloon and the unidentified flying objects, and I don't mean that in any way other than the fact that we don't know what these things are that are up in the air that our government keeps shooting down. We just don't have any information, and I believe that it is really pretty tragic, and it's becoming much more of it's moving more towards an emergency when the commander-in-chief in our military will not give us information on what is going on over our own heads. In Montana, they've closed down the airspace. Over the Great Lakes, they've closed down the airspace. We do know that the Chinese spy plane crossed over about a quarter of the state of Wyoming, the northeast quarter. I had all kinds of constituents calling me and sending me emails and pictures and texts saying, what in the world is this? So the safety and security of the United States is of great importance. Another thing that is extremely important is the spending. The inflationary pressures that we're seeing because of the overspending of the federal government and the printing of the money. One of the bills that I have co-sponsored is auditing the feds. We need to get a better handle on that. We also need to have a much better handle on where our $113 billion plus that we are sending to Ukraine has been going. I have serious questions about what we're doing in that regard, primarily because I've never heard anybody tell me what our end goal is. And if you don't know what your end goal is, I don't know how the heck you figure out whether you're winning or not. So I had people call me and text me just today about what is going on with Ukraine. There seem to be a lot of crises right now, and I don't think that we need to be governing that way. I think that people are feeling that too, and it almost feels like it's an intentional ratcheting of there's look it over here and look it over here and look it over here, and then you've got the debt ceiling discussions. You've got all of this stuff going on, and it just doesn't seem to me that we need to be in crisis mode all the time, but we seem to be with this administration because of their failed policies. So from the standpoint of what I'm doing on co-sponsoring bills, a lot of what I'm doing is really focusing on making sure we're energy independent, because I think energy poverty is bad.
Well, and again, especially here in the state where a couple of weeks ago we read a story that, again, about 55 million or again plus was hit, at least here in the state of Wyoming, with the coal industry, again, with 2022, again, just all that issues with the trains, and again, with all those shortages as well, too, again, really hit the state really hard, at least back in 2022. Hopefully things will be better, at least bigger and better here in the state of Wyoming. For you, at least, Harriet, as we have limited time with you in studio, and again, we can dive into all these topics as we love to. Again, you are having town hall meetings here in the state of Wyoming. Let's get into that as you're still early on into your political career here. But we talked with you back in May that your kind of one of your promises was, hey, when I'm an elected official, I will come back. I will represent Wyoming and come back and hear these citizens. Well, you are here early on. As you talked about, again, you've already covered a good amount of the state. You do have the upcoming event in Pine Bluffs. I guess with these town hall meetings, what are you looking to accomplish with these?
Well, it's twofold. For them to hear from me and me to hear from them. We are a constitutional republic, and I don't know how you represent people if you don't talk to them. So I committed while I was campaigning that I would do a town hall in every county throughout the state every single year. And I'm doing that, and I think that right now it's important to get out there early because people are extremely interested. For example, what happened during the vote for the Speaker of the House. People want to know what was going on behind the scenes, why I did what I did, and getting more insider information. We have touched on very quickly today a lot of the issues that we spent almost an hour and a half yesterday in Gillette at a town hall. I was in Thermopolis on Friday night, not for a town hall, but for the State Central Committee meeting, and had an opportunity to meet with a lot of different people from pretty much every single county. And that was great. So it is a matter of them getting to me, talking to the folks from Gillette. You mentioned it very briefly, but the train issue. The state of Wyoming lost $100 million in 2022 because of the slowdown, and on some days, no trains. That is devastating to a state like Wyoming, and we absolutely have to make sure that does not happen again. So up in Gillette, that's a big question. Transportation. How do we get our product out? How do we make sure that we're able to export coal to other countries that want it? How do we make sure that we're shoring up these industries? So for me, it is a two-way street. I want to hear from you, and you want to hear from me, and the town halls I've had so far have been highly successful in both of those.
Real quick, and I know time, as Nick mentioned, is short. Going back to the State of the Union, and again, you brought up some issues from that State of the Union. I think back when President Trump campaigned for you at the Ford Center during the primary, and as you got back to Washington, or as you arrived into Washington, it was just as bad as President Trump described under this current administration. But I think a couple of points I go back to from the State of the Union. A, the spending is just everything that he proposed has a price tag, and B, you as our representative, please reassure our seniors that Medicare and Social Security is not going to be messed with from our side of the aisle. Again, it just seems like this current administration wants to destroy the middle class.
Well, I think that's I would agree with you on that. And over the last couple of days, as I've been traveling around the state, I spend quite a bit of time in my own head thinking about what, why, how, who, what's going on here. And the attack on the middle class is really quite clear that there is almost a concerted effort to wipe out that middle class and either make you dependent on the government or make you fabulously wealthy, but nothing in between. And it's the in-between folks that have always set America apart from every other country. We have a very robust middle class, and we're under attack right now. So you're absolutely correct. Everything he mentions has not only a price tag, but an astronomical price tag on it. But the reality is we're facing a fiscal collapse. cliff. We need to have fiscal reform. We're going to have spending reform. But one of the things that the Republicans have made clear is that we're going to protect Social Security and Medicare. We've said that over and over again. The reason that the Democrats keep going back to that is that they believe that they don't have anything else to talk about. So if it isn't accusing us of racism, if it isn't accusing us of wanting to kill grandma, if it isn't something, this hyperbolic type of attack, they don't have any way to debate the issues. And so that's what you see. And that's why you saw the pushback during the State of the Union last week. I also want to leave everybody with this, though. Being back in Washington, D.C., I'm more optimistic now than I was before I got back there. And I'll tell you why. Because there are a lot of people who understand the same issues that we do in this room. They don't want to lose this country. They don't want to destroy the middle class. They want to protect the middle class. They want to protect our seniors and make sure that they can live long, healthy lives and be comfortable in their homes and have the medical services that they need. And I've got the people I'm working with and in my class, I'm incredibly impressed with not only their understanding of their issues, but their dedication to solving them. We've got some warriors back there who are fighting for every person in this country. I'm one of them. There are others just like me. And I'll tell you what, we're going to fix what's going on.
I'm sorry that our time is real short here today.
I want to take an opportunity right now for you, at least Congresswoman Hageman, in that, again, we talk about Pine upcoming, we talk about Laramie, the town halls. Hopefully I'm not putting you on the spot, but again, let's talk about date, time, locations. How can folks, especially here in the Cap City, travel whether I-80 East or I-80 West? How do we go about attending these events? Where to expect? And again, the time frames, as again, I see you searching around for it. So
I've got it right here.
Got to go to the planner.
Tomorrow I will be in Laramie, and it is going to be at the Wyoming, the town hall is at the Albany County Public Library at 5:30 p.m. On Wednesday, I am going to have a Laramie County Town Hall in Pine Bluffs at the City Hall. That one's at 6 o'clock. On Friday morning, that is the 17th, we're going to be doing a town hall in Pinedale at the Rendezvous Point. It starts at 9:30 a.m. So those are the 3 additional ones I'm doing this week. Yesterday I did one in Gillette. So that's where I'll be. I hope people can come. I want to talk to them.
All right, U.S. Representative from Wyoming, Harriet Hageman. Again, thank you so much for joining us. We wish you all the best and continued success in Washington, D.C. All right, we are going to take a break. We are going to allow the Congresswoman to sneak on out of here and get ready to go do more stuff as she keeps in touch with the people here in Wyoming. We will be back after these words. You are listening to KRAE Reports, a week in review right here in 1480 KRAE.
1480 KRAE is your home for live play-by-play coverage of high school basketball and football. To hear all the play-by-play calls of East, Central, and South football and basketball. You'll hear the conference action along with the postseason, and during the basketball season, 1480 KRAE features both boys and girls games. Catch all the exciting calls on AM 1480 KRAE, also streaming the games worldwide on the web at 1480KRAE.com.
Check out the huge savings this week at Town & Country Supermarket Liquors. Here are just a few of the terrific weekly specials. It's your one stop to shop for these super radio buys heard only right here. Wild Turkey American Honey Whiskey, 750 milliliter bottle, $15.99. Natural Light or Natural Ice, 30-pack, 12-ounce cans, $20.99. And Captain Morgan Private Stock Rum, 750 milliliter bottle, $21.99. Town & Country Supermarket Liquors on the South Greeley Highway, Cheyenne's low price leader.
Do you have Medicare and do you use a CPAP machine? This is a national healthcare alert regarding your CPAP supplies. Using a clean CPAP mask and clean supplies is important to staying healthy. The best way to make sure your CPAP equipment is clean is to get new supplies. If you have Medicare, we have great news. Medicare will pay for you to have new clean supplies every 90 days. We'll even do all the paperwork for you to make sure that there's little to no out-of-pocket cost to you. And you don't even have to leave your home. We provide free in-home delivery. So if you're a CPAP user and you have Medicare, staying healthy with new CPAP equipment is easy. Just make this free phone call right now to get started.
Sponsored by Specialty Medical. 800-245-3098. 800-245-3098. 800-245-3098. That's 800-245-3098.
Tired of choosing between finances and family time? Flat Valley Bank can help you take care of everything without missing anything. With our online and mobile banking, you can experience immediate access to check your account balance, pay bills, transfer money, and even create a budget. When life has you on the go, Platte Valley Bank makes it simple to take your banking with you. Platte Valley Bank, you belong here.
Platte Valley Bank, member FDIC.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
On tap for this afternoon, sunshine, expected daytime high near 54. Mostly cloudy and blustery for tonight, low down to 28. Mostly sunny and cooler for tomorrow. We're looking for a daytime high of 34. Windy conditions, westerly winds at 25 to 30, gusting as high as 50. And for Tuesday night, snow likely mainly after midnight. Our low dropping down to 8 degrees, blustery conditions, northerly winds at 20 to 25, gusting as high as 40. And welcome back to KRAE Reports, a week in review. If you missed out on the interview with U.S. Representative Harriet Hageman from Wyoming, please do join us on our repeat broadcast. It will be on between 4 and 6 p.m. And again,
it was a quick one.
It was 20 minutes went by in a hurry.
She's busy with a couple of interviews. Obviously, a lot of folks here in town want to get her thoughts and again talk about again her few short days that again have been in office and again what she's upcoming here again as a representative here in the state of Wyoming. But again, very grateful, very appreciative of her coming in again, joining us in studio. We had her in prior to the primary again with the battle with Liz Cheney and her. Again, obviously she won the general election, and again now as representative, working hard as again you could tell she is busy here, there, everywhere, going back and forth to D.C. to state of Wyoming. So again, keeping a little bit busy. And
well, the nice thing too that she said, Nick, was when we were off air, she's got a lot of material she has to read. Again, being on these committees, again the Judiciary Committee, the Natural Resources Committee, and again with her background in these areas, again, she says there's a lot of things. Again,
a lot of this stuff reads like again stereo instructions, again thick booklets too. Again, here's decorum, here's this and that, here's what you need to know, here's what's established. So yeah, without a doubt, it's a taxing thing. It's something that again you also too know that they have handlers who give you kind of notes on it, or at least kind of here's a Cliff Notes version of it. But yeah, without a doubt, it's something that obviously again for any freshman senator, House of Representative, again, even we see it here on the state side that, again, there's a lot of information to process that, again, it's something that in your first year you got to get used to, of the high-paced octane that, again, a lot of the vets are used to, part of these committees or, again, signing up for these House bills.
I was going to say the old rule of thumb for Congress, too. Your first year, you're learning the job, and then your second year, you're out campaigning for re-election. Yeah. Obviously, with our U.S. House of Representative Harriet Hageman, boy, she's hit the ground running. There's a lot of things that are going on. Matter of fact,
and like I said, I give her kudos, and brought up that point that again, at least here on this show, she made note that again she would come back here to the state of Wyoming and again talk with the folks, again be that true representative. Again, she's hit on that. We'll see how it goes for this at least remaining year, again 24 as well, again how many opportunities she's able to get back out here to the state of Wyoming. But kudos to again put up these town halls, and it's not like hitting here in Cheyenne or Casper, the major cities. No, again she mentioned Pinedale, she mentioned again Pine Bluffs as well too for Laramie
Albany County for Laramie.
With Laramie. So again hitting spots, and again Laramie County I do believe she also too mentioned going up to Jackson. So again not just focusing on the red parts only of the state as well too, listening to again the heavy blue spots of Albany County, Teton County as well too. So kudos to her.
And I'm glad she mentioned Gillette too, because you brought up that very good point, especially with the trains. The trains
we talked about again
that bring the coal around. Yeah.
Again, we talk about here in the state of Wyoming that deficit that was again 55 million or plus. Again, due to again the coal industry of those trains shut down again with the labor shortage, or again just those pauses, really affected the state of Wyoming. Hopefully that is something that can get solved here in 23. We can get a profit out of it and get that at least coal outside of the state borders and again get profit back within the state. So it sounds like again she's working on it. I went out. Brasso's working on it. Lummis as well too, noticing that situation. So again, with those three in office, hopefully again they look, and that's going back to what I said before we had Congresswoman Hageman in saying, do they truly care about the concerns of the state populace, or again the average Joe citizen? Again, take it for what it's worth. Again, try to believe in the best interest of that of the individual. And again, I think with Harriet, that her comments, I think hold truth. I think that she's seeing what's happening here in the state. She's trying to go after bills or, again, committees that, again, look out for the best interests of the state of Wyoming. Right. And hopefully it does pan out in that way that, again, it is beneficial from top to bottom, from Pine Bluffs to Cheyenne to Gillette to throughout this entire cowboy state, that, again, we start to see legislative moves that, again, benefit or at least better Wyoming.
One of the key things that she said in that very short conversation was Wyoming supplies 40% of the nation's coal.
We know that, yeah.
And going back to the State of the Union, and again, won't dwell on this a long time, where Joe Biden wants clean air technology and solar and what have you, but for at least another decade, fossil fuels are going to remain in play. So there's going to have to be other avenues, because you've kind of depleted, again, the reserves that we had. But again, coal is very integral to a lot of parts of this nation. And until this administration quits beating the tom-tom of, because I think this country, correct me if I'm wrong, Nick, and you and I disagree on a lot of stuff. I think this country has done well beyond its part for clean air technology.
I think we're one of the best probably in the world, without a doubt. Again, you look at some instances of China, Mongolia, again, they have one of the worst.
India.
Yeah, India as well, too. Again, regarding clean energy, keeping things green and clean, I think we are the leader of it. It's something that the rest of the world has got to figure it out as well, too. And again, obviously it's something that I don't expect the U.S. and I don't want the U.S. to handhold those countries, but it's something that, I think here we are probably one of the brighter spots around the world of keeping that green energy, or at least moving forward to that. The concern right now, again, for Wyoming, it's something that a lot of folks took offense to, again, Joe Biden's claims, or at least his comments of saying, hey, for those who are losing out of those industries, again, coal, oil, whatever, hey, pick up a tech job or learn how to code. Again, that clearly that's I can see how people got a little upset by that comment. But it is something for Wyoming, though, and doesn't lay on, again, our representatives or, again, our senator. It's something that within the state borders, and again, starts from the top, works down to the bottom, again, starts with Mark Gordon. We do, I feel like, need to look forward on the energy level, and it seems like we are, with looking to implement a nuclear power plant here in the state. Also too, again, when we see with the windmills, plenty, this and that. But it's something for, again, those areas, again, especially Gillette. Gillette, that holds very true to, again, the train industry, to, again, coal, to, again, a lot of those natural resources. You look up and down, again, with Natrona County, with all the oil that they provide. Again, you look to, again, around Sinclair, Rawlins, all that area. My concern, or at least my hopeful thought for Wyoming, is we definitely need to look into other additional revenue resources, or at least other job potentials for these areas of the state where, because again, there is a heavy push to move green.
Okay.
And we do know that on this planet, these natural resources are limited. Not saying it's immediate, but do have a time of frame. Yeah. And it's something that you would hope that Wyoming at a point in time, not saying it's got to be here in the next year or, again, within the decade, it's something that hopefully in due time that this state realizes that, sees, again, some of the ramifications that we just went through here in the pandemic as well, too. Again, the loss of that coal industry, or at least, again, those millions of that coal industry, that hopefully we can find and implement new businesses or, again, new creative ways to get those workers an opportunity, an alternative. Not just where Biden goes and says, hey, learn how to code, and there you go, you're good to go. No, we need to find and bring new innovative industries in to, again, make sure that our butts are covered, again, especially for our workers in those coal mines or those fields, to make sure that they have an alternative if things go south or if we move entirely away from those natural resources.
Here's the top prize for the Biden administration. Hey, for all these wind farms, try actually thinking about a way that doesn't use fossil fuels, because that's what propels all of these wind farms, fossil fuels. They all have motors on them, and they're all leaking oil. So there you go, D.C. Think of a way to go back to the old traditional windmills that were on farms and produce electricity that way. Again,
I'm for my personal, at least my personal opinion. As again, it's a hot debated issue here in the state. Again, where the proposed nuclear plant, if I remember, again, it's supposed to go around Lander. If I stand corrected on that one, but again, nuclear energy. To me, again, that seems like the most intriguing thing, especially where we have the land space. Nuclear energy, again, it gets its bad rep from, again, 3 Mile Island, from Chernobyl, without a doubt. Again, those accidents were horrible and, again, have ramifications, even with Fukushima out there in Japan. But, again, that was a natural event that, again, an unprecedented natural event that caused that leakage out there in Japan. But, again, you'll spend and learn about these nuclear power plants. They're pretty damn safe and they're pretty damn reliable. It's something that, again, could Wyoming look into, again, adding those here on the state border, where, again, we have a lot of that land, and that's where we can start exporting that type of energy.
You got to ask yourself the question, though.
And obviously, again, nuclear energy does come with, again, the nuclear waste, which, again, power plants are at least price tag as well too. So that is kind of a concern. But anyway, regarding our energy needs here as a society, there is no perfect way, but it seems like maybe, again, we go away from the natural, the limited resources that we have in this world. You know, again, that I guess that where I was leading into with Wyoming of thinking forward, could nuclear power plants be that thought forward for the state that, again, benefits us in a big economic way?
Again, ask yourself the question. Nuclear power, and again, you gave the pros and cons. Let's look at, we have an abundant supply of natural resources here in Wyoming. Coal, natural gas.
But it's limited.
Natural gas and oil. Again, we have enough. This is what I'm saying. We have enough in our midst right now before we go nuclear, and that's fine if we do. But the thing is too, and I think, as you mentioned, Chernobyl and what happened in Japan and 3 Mile Island, I'm sure days will be a lot different than it was 20, 30 years ago, that it's going to be a little safer. But again, you still have
a little cleaner, hopefully, yeah.
You still have expenditure problems, though, with nuclear. What to do with it? And again, what are you going to do? You're going to throw it back in the ground? Well, that's not, again, until you find the proper way to dispose of the waste, I got problems with it. But when we have the abundancy of the naturals here in Wyoming, and again, look what we do for the country. And
we have the abundant, but again,
the world.
But again, it's something that as the world turns its back on, again, those resources, as it now gets a black eye, and again, it clearly has right now. Again, talk about gasoline, talk about, again, coal, talk about, again, these fossil fuels have gotten a bad rap over the past, couple decades, that as countries now turn their back on it, again, we sit on these abundant resources, and now it's become virtually worthless. Not saying it is right now, but down the line, I'd say within the next 100 years, wouldn't it be surprising that, again, fossil fuels are eliminated from a good majority of countries around this planet?
And, well, I guess in California, 2035, I guess fossil fuels are going to be eliminated from electric. You got to have to drive an electric vehicle. Well,
and like I said, that should, again, to state representatives, to, again, our governor, to, again, even here on the state side, should bring up concerns, or at least this is where you need to be a little forward thinking of, what if?
Yeah, and I don't have a problem
again,
with that.
Let's look at the what ifs and what can we do to solve it. And again, as we got a taste of it in 22, granted, we've had a taste of it for the past couple of years now here in the state with regarding the pandemic, of what do we do in case, if this shuts down, if this is no longer a hot commodity, where do we get this revenue? Where do we get this economic boost from? Again, is it within nuclear power plants? Is it with something else, again, on a blue-collar industry within the state? Again, could we, again, could you take, for instance, again, steel factories, put them here in the state, make those coal miners now into steel workers, put them in that blue-collar. Car industries, Tesla's looking to put in, all these giga plants. That is, again, a Tesla automobile that is green. Could that be benefit of put them on a factory line, those workers who, again, are no longer in the coal mines, put them on at least creating the greener cars that, again, take away from that coal industry. I'm just saying it's something that hopefully there is forward thinking, especially with this wake-up call of the recent years regarding our natural resources, that we look to alternatives just in case if the worst happens.
To that moron in California, Newsom, who says, hey, everything's got to be electric by 2035. Well, again, too.
And California's going to do whatever California wants.
And that's fine. But again,
and a lot of those and a lot of those citizens in that state agree probably.
Think about the lithium batteries, though. They're still using fossil fuels to make lithium batteries. Okay? Here's the other part of that equation. Until these prices come down, because, again, to get an electric vehicle, an EV, and I know we have some dealers here in Wyoming that are selling, I'm not going to pay a quarter of what I paid for my house on these things, because and they always say
prices are coming down a bit, especially on the Teslas.
Car is your second most.
I get that. I'm just saying it's something that, again, Elon Musk has talked about that. Again, a lot of the car dealerships are talking about it, or car manufacturers are talking about that. Again, once we get more of those, again, as that becomes, again, I'm just saying as more and more of those get on the line, that they become plentiful. I think, especially regarding the Tesla situation, I think Elon Musk has come out years ago about saying once we get more of these factories established, we get more and more of the factory workers out, that, again, we find a way to at least make it simpler or quicker on the lithium-ion battery for our vehicles, then the price can go down. Similar of what we saw, back in the early, at least the turn of the century of the 1900s with, again, Ford, where, again, the invention of the assembly factory. Again, those were a luxury item. Once we started figuring out, hey, how we mass produce them, that cost comes down. And, again, hopefully that's the same situation with EV cars as, again, even look to, again, last night with the Super Bowl, and look with, again, what we're seeing on sports, again, with commercials. How many companies are now tossing out of, hey, Kia's got an EV car. Tesla, you got Chevy, you got Ford. Everyone's now tossing out, hey, we have pure electric cars. It is now becoming that trend. It's now coming to that forward-thinking, at least process on the vehicle industry side. So you got to imagine that those prices are going to reflect as, again, more of those cars now get mass produced.
And I don't have a problem with that. Like I said, hopefully prices will come down. But
they should. In theory, they should.
The technical people of the world need to find solid, stable grids, because, again, look how much electricity is going to be used within this country when we go all EV. And, again,
like I said, nuclear power plants that, again, are synonymous with, again, massive outputs of electricity. That, again, it's kind of low input, high output, but, again, with high risk, high cost, without a doubt. It's something that if Wyoming were to, and, again, other states will look into, again, adding nuclear power plants, could that be the benefit, or at least the solution to the problem of, again, electric costs to, again, electricity or something like that? Who knows? Again, we can only theorize, and obviously economists or, again, those, again, tied within, power plants could give you the insight on that, but could that be the end-all, be-all solution? That's why we'll see. But regarding our natural resources, yes, we still have them, still use them, still need to sell them off, but we look to, again, the recent years where there's a heavy push to go green. It to me seems beneficial for this state to, again, still have those natural resources, still sell them, but we need to look to the future to cover our back end to make sure that the extreme, the drastic bad extreme doesn't happen to us, doesn't catch us off guard, and all of a sudden this state's gasping for money.
Well, I'm going to tell you this, though, and it will be until I probably get put in the dirt, but and maybe when you get in the dirt.
There's a fast push right now.
I'm just going to tell you right now, we'll be needing fossil fuels for a long, long time.
Yeah, until we find a simple solution to create, again, plastics in another way, which, again, there are ways to now without using oil or anything like that.
Am I looking at the clock right here? We got about 6 minutes left?
No. You're completely wrong.
Oh, this one is not set up then. Okay. real quick, I want to.
We need to take a timeout before getting into.
Okay, well, let's take a timeout, one last timeout, and then we'll come back. We'll talk a little bit about the legislature, and we're back after these words right here on 1480 KRAE.
17 years in the community and still striving to offer you the best value in a new vehicle. AJ Miller here for Kia of Cheyenne. Take a look at the new 2023 Kia Sorento. With the 2023 Kia Sorento, you have a choice of 3 models, 8 different trims, and 4 different all-weather drive modes. Some available features include 281 horsepower, 20-inch wheels, remote start, and climate control. Come into Kia of Cheyenne, call 775-0123 or go to kiaofcheyenne.com, and we'll make it easy.
Capital Lumber is number one in Cheyenne. Are you listening? We're all the lumber store you'll ever need. For electrical, plumbing, paint, and tools, lumber and hardware, we're for you. And we're out to earn your business, yes indeed. Capital Lumber is number one today. Are you listening? Capital Lumber's at your service all the way.
Since 1966, Cheyenne and Laramie County has depended on and trusted family-owned and operated Capital Lumber Company for all your lumber and hardware needs at 1222 Dunn Avenue in Cheyenne.
The next time you have a craving for authentic Mexican cuisine, visit Guadalajara at 1745 Del Range Boulevard. Locally owned and operated, they serve their dishes with family tried and true recipes with the freshest of ingredients, made to order. Start off your meal with their complimentary chips, salsa, and bean dip. And if you're feeling adventurous, enjoy your favorite margarita or cerveza. Guadalajara, where the spice is always nice.
At the Cheyenne Regional Heart and Vascular Institute, you're welcomed with the warmth of a community hospital and cared for with help from the most advanced technology in the industry. With our full spectrum of in-house heart services and procedures, you can get the treatment you need, recover, and get right back out there, all while remaining close to home. Find out more at CheyenneRegional.org/heart.
There may be a chill in the air, but the action is always hot and heavy at the 3 locations of Wyoming Downs in the Cheyenne Plaza, inside the Outlaw Saloon on the South Greeley Highway, and on Delrange Boulevard next to Culver's Office Depot. You can watch and place your pari-mutuel wager on a variety of simulcast horse races from the nation and the world's tracks, and check out the excellent selections of games offered by Wyoming Downs, where you can win a lot of cash. Remember to pick up your player's card and enjoy Triple Points Monday and Club 55 midweek, along with other specials. Win big today and bring your friends to Wyoming Downs in the Cheyenne Plaza, inside the Outlaw Saloon on the South Greeley Highway, and at 1345 Delrange Boulevard. For more information, go to wydowns.com.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
On tap for this afternoon, sunshine, expect a daytime high near 54. Mostly cloudy and blustery for tonight, low down to 28. Mostly sunny and cooler for tomorrow. We're looking for a daytime high of 34. Windy conditions, westerly winds at 25 to 30, gusting as high as 50. And for Tuesday night, snow likely mainly after midnight. Our low dropping down to 8 degrees, blustery conditions, northerly winds at 20 to 25, gusting as high as 40. Well, in our closing segment here for today, the Wyoming House and Senate has been busy during this run of the legislature. And again, to kind of reflection.
Not as much as a clown show as it was last year when we talked about it at the same time, where again, it was kind of more of the theatrics and more so than the bills being proposed, but yeah.
But we are seeing more of a shift, especially with some of the newer members, and it's no different than new members of the House of Representatives, since the Republicans now have control of the U.S. Congress. We're seeing that shift also, too, here in our own House and Senate with the new Republican members, because, again, it is predominantly, I think it was, 4 Democrats in both houses total for the state of Wyoming.
But there's a lot of fresh faces within, again, when we had Representative Swanitzer in, again, he talked about the amount of freshmen in.
Yeah, but what I'm saying
cycle.
is those that are coming in are a little more of that conservative nature and trying to get some of that conservatism to spill into a lot of these bills.
Let's specify on the conservative nature of kind of more, there's cry out that, again, more of these newcomers into the state legislative body are more on that far right in that, again, have brought up concerns and brought up some interesting bills that have, again, ultimately failed, at least trying to get passed here in the state of Wyoming. So that's kind of the concern. An article that was kind of put out there by the Cowboy State Daily. Again, thank you to them, again, everything that they do. It's something that there is, at least within the state body, that there is a concern with at least freshmen coming in, that, again, they have more of that extremist views and ideology. Again, I have a difficulty too. But either way, again, it's something that there is a concern within those vets that this new breed is bringing in some kind of, again, kind of those extreme
radical
views.
changes.
Yeah, without a doubt. But again, so far on the Senate and House side, they have been able to kind of shut them down of these potential bills.
Well, one of the things that was brought up that got shot down and had the backing of Secretary of State Chuck KRAE was the crossover voting, and that got shot down.
Yeah.
So you kind of felt that was going to happen. Again, I'm not a fan of the crossover voting, but hey, I respect. Hey, this is the way it is. You guys,
again, I don't.
You got to live with it.
The crossover voting, again, is not the issue. It does not address the issue of
No,
but either way,
yeah.
That bill did not pass. A few other bills that were brought up as well too, a part of this article as well too. One of them being regarding sending funds. I think it was about $5 million allocated to border security. Again, state funds to go down to secure the border, not just, at least not the Wyoming state border, but again the U.S. southern border. That was shot down as well too. The COVID requirement.
The House Bill 66. That was from Casper Republican Representative Jeanette Ward, which would have prohibited discrimination of people who choose to not follow face mask, vaccine, or COVID-19 testing mandates in Wyoming. And this is interesting, too, about this particular bill, as I have it here. While House Bill 66 ultimately failed, it passed a House committee vote and 2 votes on the House floor before finally being defeated 32, 29, and 1 abstention on its third reading on the floor. Interesting. Again, that is trying to follow suit with the national. Because, again, this current group on the Republican side basically saying, no more. No more mandates and this, that, and the other thing. And, again, too, you got a lot of military that lost jobs because of whether it's religious or...
Obviously, the state bill would not have taken care of that, again, regarding FE Warren or the other military bases here in the state. But,
again, with COVID-19, basically... This kind of follows suit to how the Republicans in D.C. are reacting. Hey, no more mandates.
But this is more so, again, regarding businesses and companies to not at least discriminate or at least kind of put those pressures on their employees, which, again, I've said in the past that, again, companies, businesses, if you want to implement that, again, it's your company. You chose to hire that individual. They chose to work for you. So, again, as a company, it's not right, but they have that option to enforce that if they want to, if they see fit best for their company and for the rest of their employees. So, but yeah, again, not surprised that this did fail. Again, it was close, but not surprised that, again, this did fail because also too, again, here in the state of Wyoming, very few or select companies or, again, businesses, even the University of Wyoming, again, really does not hold any COVID-19 mandates anymore.
But let me say this though, what I read here, and I'm not dissing on it whatsoever because I do watch it. A lot of these brought forth bills that eventually did not pass. For example, and I'll just throw this one out here real quick. A few other pieces of more conservative legislation that experienced success included 3 bills restricting foreign ownership of land in Wyoming. 2 of the bills easily advanced out of committee, but all ultimately failed. If you watch, and I'll just throw it out there, I think he's a good commentator, Sean Hannity. A lot of the stuff that you're reading here that did not ultimately make a law here in Wyoming, that's stuff you hear on Hannity, on Fox. And again, those conservatives...
Which to me is whoop-de-doo.
Yeah, those conservatives... whatever, or if you want to call them right-wingers in the House and the Senate here in Wyoming, you could see the Fox influence or the Hannity or the conservative nature influence on some of this stuff. I mean, this is stuff I hear every time I watch this show. So again, I understand why they're bringing this stuff up, and some of it makes sense, some of it doesn't. But you just sit here and you look at it, and you said earlier that we have some of that old guard that's still in place. I also look at some of that old guard basically said no to the new guard that's coming in as well.
Yeah.
So kind of one hand washes the other, so to speak.
Yeah, without a doubt. Again, a lot of heated debates on, again, a lot of these bills, a lot of interesting bills that kind of have nationwide, at least, not ramifications, but again, you can kind of pinpoint, again, the conversations being held on a nationwide side. Again, we talk about the transgender bill coming out.
Human Right Act.
Yeah, again, where that we look at, again, abortion bill as well too here in the state with the border security, with the COVID-19 mandates. Again, it reflects on the nationwide side, but again, yeah, the veteran guard that is in place basically said, hey, freshmen incoming, these are a little too extreme. We're not on
good ideas. We're not on board.
Yeah, we're not there yet to accept this. And again, it has that kind of extreme feeling with some of the, at least the wording within these bills. So, does the new guard, again, this freshman at least incoming, kind of bring concern? Where again, I talked about getting that old guard out and bringing some of the new in. Mm-hmm. Well, here it is. They are bringing, again, those hotbed issues here to the state. And is it a scenario that, again, the old vets are quieting them down? It does have that concern.
But the new guard that's in there now, the freshmen, so to speak, they're going to be out campaigning in a couple of years. They're going to be out campaigning against those that are currently in there. Hey, I did what you wanted me to do. This individual said no. And what they're going to start doing, that old guard that's in there now, I would be a little concerned if I were them, because there's going to be that push in 2024, oust some of these guys that have been there forever, first and foremost, and again, or turn a blind eye or turn their back on these particular referendums that were brought up. And I guarantee you, I think the campaign trail in 2024 is going to be a little more livelier. And realistically, you sent me.
Is this something that has pushback to, again, voters here in the state, again, seeing some of these bills get shot down, some of the freshmen kind of quiet down? I think it does. I think those who voted in, who, again, are going to try and convince of saying, no, this is the old guard trying to take down the new guard. That old guard does not reflect who I am or who we are as citizens here in the state. I think you do see that ripple effect, again, when we get towards at least kind of the midterms or, again, those election cycles, again, for a lot of these representatives here in the state, that this could have that ripple effect, that ramification that, we see that you still hold on to those values. Well, it doesn't reflect my values as a citizen. Yeah, I don't think it's time to keep you in. I think it's time.
The 2022 primary showed me where Wyoming is headed. It's going to be,
It seems like, again, as I called for it, again, it seems like you're wanting that new voice.
But it's also, and boots in the ground, right. Boots in the ground, red, okay? Yeah. So when I'm seeing
legislative bills that, again, reflect the nation, nation stance, or at least nationwide, at least kind of situations.
If you call yourself conservative, but you're technically, quote, a rhino, I think you're going to be headhunted in 2024. I think you're going to see a lot more liveliness in the upcoming 2024 primary.
Not so much here in Cheyenne.
No, in Wyoming.
Yeah, I was going to say not so much here in Cheyenne or Albany County or, again, at least Jackson, Teton County, but, throughout the state. Be interested to see, again, coming out of Cody as well, too, again, what that county looks like or that city, how that kind of reflects moving forward as they get a lot of influence and a little influx, especially, again, a lot of those Californian kind of millionaires to, again, set up shop there.
And
in
again,
the
some
area.
of these old values, and again, like I said, there's a couple guys that have been in this legislature that have been there since I've been around, and again,
but
either step down or move up.
I guess plain and simple right now, again, with what we're seeing right now, again, with a lot of these bills being shut down, that, again, a lot of folks, probably citizens, do care about and, again, wanted to get passed forward, I think does have potential ramifications to that old guard that shut him down, that said, no, we're not having any part of this. And to use an example, again, would be with Dan Zwanzer. Again, he's one of the longest-term, at least elected officials in this state, again, representing here in the city of Cheyenne. Could it have a ramification against him come towards at least his election cycle? I think there is a good possibility. I think this could have a good possibility that folks are going to be, nope, I'm sick and tired of it. I want a new voice now, and you guys are preventing what I want, and get out.
I think in 2024 there's going to be a lot of cries for new
It could
voices.
be it could be a very big bloodbath.
All right, real quick here, one last thing, then we wrap it up. Laramie County School District Number 1 has released a tentative timeline and information about its newest grades, 5 through 6. That'll be Cody Ridge Elementary. Coyote Ridge Elementary. The school, which is located at Powder House Road and Carlson Street, is slated to open for 5th and 6th grade students. That'll be August of 2024, so we're a little ways away. The 4 schools originally anticipated to feed into Coyote Ridge were Davis, Hobbs, Jessup, and Prairie Wind elementary schools. Additionally, students from across the district who wish to attend may submit a boundary waiver form. Registration for the 24-25 school year, including the boundary waiver process, will begin in January 2024. So, again, just wanted to throw that out there, that the Coyote Ridge Elementary School going to be open for business here in about 16 months.
Which we know, again, we've had that discussion that, again, schools here in town, again, a few, especially namely, again, near us, again, Bain Elementary, again, a lot of our elementary schools are aging, and there's not much to do. Again, renovation is going to be tough. So, again, the need for new schools and need to at least alleviate some of the growing classroom sizes here in Cheyenne, because, again, we are having that influx of population here. It does come with, again, schools as well, too, and, again, it's student population. So this addressed one of the concerns. Again, it's not immediate. 2024 is the anticipated start time for, again, 5th and 6th grades, and then eventually coming soon for the remainder. But see how many more elementary schools kind of pop up here in the at least city of Cheyenne to at least alleviate some of these concerns.
Local and regional sports tomorrow on the Pro Show. That'll be from 11 till 1, so do join Nick and myself. Repeat of our show today will air at 4 o'clock this afternoon. Harriet Hageman will be in right around 5 o'clock, so do join us for our second showing of our program for today. So, for Nick Perwati.
Before you say that, because, again, we don't give it enough love, Golden Age Radio, 8 until 10 o'clock tonight. Again, All-Star Western Theater. Meet the Press as well, too. I think make note of tonight's programs, or at least one of them, JFK, not then president, but before he was president, again, as U.S. Senator of Massachusetts, on that program talking about, I do believe it was on his presidential run. So, again, tune into that interview, again, going back to JFK before he was the president. So that's what's upcoming, 8 until 10 o'clock tonight, Golden Age Radio, Monday through Thursday. Again, that's when it's live here on 1480 KRAE.
All right, that's going to wrap up our program today. So for Nick Perwati, I'm Larry Perwati. We now return to regular programming on 1480 KRAE.